Greetings, fellow Whovians, and welcome to Timey Wimey Review, and happy birthday, Doctor Who! At the time of recording, it is the show's 59th birthday. So to celebrate, especially ahead of the show's whopping 60th anniversary next year, I thought I would talk about not only my earliest memories of watching Doctor Who. I've also asked other Whovians on different Facebook group pages what their earliest memory or first story or episode that they've watched from this show's 59-year history. So please hit the subscribe button, that will really help out this channel as we delve into our earliest Doctor Who memories. This is the first time that I've read these comments, so I'm just going to read them out all anonymously. So let's start off with this one, saying that Remembrance of the Daleks, Episode 1, 5th of October 88. Even got the whole date and year. I was only 5, but it was seared into my memory. I was terrified and mesmerized in equal measure. Started a long life passion for the show. And yeah, I can definitely associate with that one. That was my first videotape that I bought or owned, really. The Dalek set. I don't think you can quite see it. I'll just quickly grab it for you. This my mum got in Woolworths, if you remember that, in the UK. I didn't have the tin. I bought this separate not too long ago at a Comic Con convention, so that was an absolute bargain. But inside, very quickly, had the two videos that I first owned, which was The Chase and Remembrance of the Daleks. And yeah, no word of a lie, I was drawn to Remembrance of the Daleks very quickly. Earliest memory of Doctor Who, if I was just going from my perspective, was probably, oh gosh, I remember, I do remember the Unearthly Child being reshown on BBC Two as part of like some kind of throwback to 1960s TV. They just showed a random bunch of episodes, and I think the original pilot version of that first episode of Unearthly Child was shown, but I did feel a bit unwell. So I do remember the opening credits and the policeman walking past Totter's Lane, but I did sort of fell asleep in the middle of it, and just hearing the music. But to me, what I associated with Doctor Who for quite a long time as a very, very young child was the Daleks. So that kind of drawn me into Doctor Who. And then as I was a little bit older, there was showing quite a lot of Doctor Who stories on BBC Two in the early 90s. I think around about 93, I think, something like that. So I remember recording Genesis of the Daleks and Revelation of the Daleks. That was another memory. And then obviously getting the videotape of Remembrance of the Daleks as well. My intro was The Empty Child, The Doctor Dances. And this is kind of what I love but terrified me at the same time, because obviously I remember watching this from the very first time back in 2005. But that's nearly 20 years ago now. We're 18, and obviously these kids that have grown, a new generation have grown up watching Doctor Who, which is amazing, but also showing my age as well. So, but I'd rather take children growing up with a doctor any day of the week, because I kind of didn't. To a certain extent, I could technically say my doctor when I was born would have been Colin Baker, but obviously my first doctor in sort of memory would have been Sylvester McCoy. But then you had the wilderness years, so especially kids in the early 90s didn't grow up with a doctor unless they saw the repeats on BBC Two. Who knows? But it's nice to have, especially in the early 2000s, children growing up with their own doctor. My earliest memory was a repeat of the Sea Devils in 1992. There we go, back in the 90s again. The only bit I remember is when the Doctor went down in a submersible, and when it resurfaced, he wasn't in it. Astonishing Joe. I remember that cliffhanger, and yeah, it's a bit of a random cliffhanger to end on, but that's the beauty of Doctor Who, and especially those cliffhangers. If you haven't seen in my channel before, I do have some best and worst cliffhanger videos. I need to do another volume, really, because I really enjoyed rewatching those cliffhangers. My first few stories were the 1996 TV movie as part of the 1999 Doctor Who night. Oh God, yeah, I remember the Doctor Who night. 22 years ago now. Jeez. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Tom Baker sort of doing the continuity bits. And I also remember the Carnival of Monsters documentary about all the different Doctor Who monsters. That was pretty cool, and using some operatic music as well to sort of showcase those monsters. This was followed by Spearhead from Space, the Silurians, and Genesis of the Daleks in the following weeks. Yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't carry that on. Again, it was on BBC Two, sort of like double bill, I think, episodes every week on a Tuesday. I remember as well, followed by Champions League. I think that's just awakening so many memories. Following that, it was UK Gold Omnibus repeats whenever I could. I believe that it was during the Curse of Fenric where I realised I became a fan. There were some great stories you picked there, so to really jump in at the deep end with Doctor Who lore. Started with Rose. Best memory is meeting Catherine Tate at the RI Comic Con. So I'm assuming Republic of Ireland Comic Con. But yeah, this is another thing as part of Doctor Who, and especially I've been going to different Comic Cons, memorabilia's, Doctor Who conventions for far too many years. But I love every single one of them. Whether I've seen them once, twice, three times, seen Sylvester McCoy quite a few times, and he's always a joy to see at these conventions. And again, that's all part of the beauty of that. And again, like I said earlier, there's people now growing up watching Doctor Who. It's a great thing to have. First episode for me was Dalek. Yes, wow. And yeah, I think that'll be quite a lot for people watching it back in 2005. I think Doctor Who was being warmed up by an introduction, but as soon as everyone knew that the Daleks was back, and when everyone first saw Dalek, I think that was Doctor Who was, for probably quite a lot of people, is back and it's here to stay for the foreseeable. So stick around at the end of the video because there's something I need to mention about that episode. November 23rd, 1963, my birthday. Well, very happy birthday to you as well. And yeah, An Unearthly Child, where it all began. If you haven't seen that story, check it out. It's a great story. I will be reviewing that next year, along with a bunch of other anniversary type specials, all ahead of the big build up towards the celebration in November 2023. I discovered the show in 1976 on a local PBS channel. See, with me being in the UK, I know in America, there's lots of sort of fond memories of watching Doctor Who via PBS. And you can see that in popular culture, really. If I imagine for quite a number of years, if you associated Doctor Who in America, it probably most likely be Tom Baker with the hat and the scarf. You see that in popular culture, like The Simpsons, Futurama. They've done that as well. So let's just go back to that comment. I can't remember if it was Spearhead from Space, Colony of Space, Mutants, Minder, or Day of. I now know that it was Day of the Daleks that hooked me. So much fun coming home from school and watching an episode. The Friday cliffhangers were tough because you had to wait until Monday to see the next one. 2 days, 3 days. We had a whole week, whole week of waiting for cliffhangers. But yeah, Day of the Daleks is a lot of fun. It is a very odd story, in my personal opinion. Again, I would love to review it one day, and I'm sure I will. Invasion of the Dinosaurs. So yeah, not obviously dinosaurs on the spaceship. Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Again, another story that I haven't watched all the way through, and it's on my to-do list to go. So again, check out this channel. More likely next year, I will be reviewing Invasion of the Dinosaurs. In September 1979, ITV was on strike, so BBC One was on, and I got to see season 17. I think it was the last couple episodes from Destiny of the Daleks, and I can remember City of Death. So yes, fellow Whovians, you didn't know there was a massive strike, so ITV shut down. This is something that will probably never ever happen in our generation. in our lifetime. But yeah, the only channels that were on was BBC One and Two. So Doctor Who had some huge ratings in that year. I think Destiny of the Daleks, I could be wrong, was the highest viewed story of all time because of the strike. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. The android invasion was my first memory I have of Who, when Sarah Jane's face fell off, revealing an android underneath. Yes, I love that cliffhanger. And it is a bit terrifying. I remember that. I think they showed that in More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS. Again, just awakening so many old memories of watching Doctor Who and just going, oh my gosh, oh, you know, weird things like that. And like, I do remember they played a clip on that 30 Years in the TARDIS of Resurrection of the Daleks, when the Daleks exploded and you see the mutant inside. That was a sort of really cool, semi-gory scene. I love that. But the first episode I fully watched was Logopolis, which is still one of my favourite episodes. After that, I never missed one. Wow, that's good going there. The Fifth Doctor is my favourite, with Tegan and Turlough mostly. In 1990, I started buying the videos, and that's when my collection started, and going to conventions. And yeah, that's another thing that, again, before I was born, when the video started going out. Before then, there was kind of like called bootleg copies, and they used to go for an absolute fortune. Basically, it was kind of like recorded off TV cuts of these stories, because they were never broadcast again, you know. And now we fast forward to now, and obviously all the classic stories are on BritBox, and they're just at a click of a button, where, you know, people 30-40 years ago was buying them at hundreds of pounds for VHS copies that have probably been worn out as well. So it's just how times have changed as well as the series has progressed. Fondest memory was the Doctor finally saying goodbye to Sarah Jane. Oh, Sarah Jane. Elizabeth Sladen, we still miss you, absolutely. Yeah, and it was great to see her back. That was a big surprise in series 2 of Modern Doctor Who, and that was the great call by Russell T Davies to bring her back, and obviously have those subsequent adventures in the Sarah Jane adventures as well. Let's just keep scrolling, and oh, here we go. I'm actually engaged to be married because of Doctor Who. Wow, if anyone else has had sort of similar things, or like romances because of Doctor Who, that connection between two people because of Doctor Who, yeah, let me know, because yeah, congratulations, brilliant. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to end on that one, because that was so good, so touching. And yeah, let me know in the comments below your thoughts to your earliest memories of Doctor Who. What was the first episode or story that you watched, and what Doctor Who means to you, and what sort of life lessons have you learned from Doctor Who? What sort of life experiences you've had because of Doctor Who, whether you met an actor or an actress at a Comic-Con or a convention, or like that person there has got engaged to someone because of Doctor Who. Let's celebrate this wonderful milestone, this 59th birthday, with all these types of comments. Next time on Timey Wimey Review, I did mention it a bit earlier in this video, but I will be reviewing the 9th Doctor episode, Dalek. Can't wait to revisit and review it for you, my fellow Whovians. But until then, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed reading all these wonderful comments, so thank you everyone who commented on the Facebook pages, and I hope you do this enjoy this video as a tribute. And again, please let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video and you would like me to do another one in the near future. But until then, again, thank you for watching. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the cloister bell for more notifications. Come say hello and follow me on Twitter at ReviewTimey, and do check out my other videos from the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. And as a good doctor once said, we're all stories in the end. Just make it a good one, eh?